Peace, everyone. We are live. Sans an intro. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties.
These. It is all well.
Sure,
Seems to
always some.
be.
There's always something happening. Well, welcome to our mid-season premiere of True Health Live. It's also known as episode 8. And we are talking about dance. So this topic is dance is life. And we will be joined by two NYC-based dancers, performing artists, and instructors, Eto'o Tsana and Alexandra. And they're going to talk to us about their experience in dance and movement and why it's important. And so I'm gonna just really quickly go to the chat because y'all beat us here. So thank you for your patience and waiting for us. So peace, Margie Marie Art, peace,
Yes.
peace, Sequoia, peace, peace. She says she hope everyone had a great day. Looking forward. Peace, Sovereign Eats, peace, Naya, peace, True Health Live, and that's it. Okay, so and I would say, like, definitely bring your questions, anything that you have about movement and dance and what it's like, performing professionally overseas or whatever, because they definitely have a lot of that info. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for them to join us, we're going to talk about dance in and of itself and movement, like why that's important. And I think the topic came up because I like to dance. And it just kind of found its way into our editorial schedule. It is what it is. And I thought it was important to like come at it from a health point of view. Like obviously, like it's important. We've talked about yoga. Kira Eden does yoga. Stretch your body, stretch your mind.
That's it.
And we always talk about how it's important to really stretch the fascia of the body, the fascia. We want to make sure that we're flexible and also get the blood pumping, get the blood circulating. However, I think there's always something different that happens with dance, right? Because there is the music component.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what kind of dance it is, there's the drumming. For me, that's what it is. Like it's like the drums. I know when I used to go to dance class, live drumming all the time.
Right.
So what I think will be interesting while we're prepping and waiting for our guests to come on, let's share some of our dance experiences. Like, what were some of your favorite dance experiences?
Yeah. So peace, Yakira Eden, really, really happy to be back. I'm glad that we are, returning for this portion of the season. Um, I think that there are a lot of similarities between what I'm learning, right, and through exploring yoga as a means by which to move and stretch the body, and what I've always known, right, similar to you, I always loved to dance, and grew up in a family that danced and or moved quite a bit. Um, I would agree that there is a difference with dance. And that difference is it's almost as if there's this rhythmic component. So whether there are drums or whatever that bass line is, there's something about that that just connects with the heart, right? And that internal pounding or beating, or even that striving that we're doing in life often, when you think about the most trying or challenging moments, or when you have that big opportunity, there's that pounding in your chest, and it lets you know that you're alive, but it also charges you to move forward into a thing. And that often happens. Like, there are some people that tend to kind of be that the chair dancer, if you will. Like, I know I've had colleagues and friends, they will not stand up and dance, but they'll dance in the chair. And it's like, there are those who will sit in the chair and not step into the fullness of, you know what? I'm just going to let loose and I'm going to be free. I'm going to be free, as opposed to sitting in the chair and just allowing my arms and my legs and my torso to kind of wiggle around in this very static space. Um, and I would say that when you choose to free up yourself and actually move, you get a different experience. You get to recognize you and you in the space around you, you as connected to others in the space. So I would definitely say yeah. And as you brought up, yes, I see someone. The stretch your body, stretch your body, stretch your mind. Movement allows you to have extra space. So you get that elasticity. So I see one of our guests are here. Yay! You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yes, yes, yes. I was gonna respond to your. I see her. We're gonna give you time to set up. I see you moving around, Alex. So we're
Okay.
and just give me like a hand wave when you're ready, and we'll put you right on in. Okay. And as Alex comes in, I'm gonna get to this chat really quickly. Peace, Master Manulek. Peace, Akuya
He's
Bisa,
a
and
master chair dancer.
peace. I'm a master chair dancer. Listen, when you said that, I thought flash dance. I really did.
Not that kind of, that's masterful chair dancing. That's a whole nother thing. No, I'm talking about the person who's like, I won't get up. I'm just gonna dance right here. It's like, no, just explore. Open yourself up
Right,
a bit.
right. Peace, peace, Alexandra,
Please.
Jean Joseph. Thank you for joining
Hello.
us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Welcome.
Alex is our first guest. Alex, you know me. And we've danced together. And so on stage with us is also our co-host, my co-host, Precious Email Yakira Eden Stephanie, so who you haven't met, but we're gonna get to know each other all up right. Um, as as one of our brothers says, leave it on the field.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it on the field. Um, and so, like, we have a whole, like, really nice little hour, well, 45 minutes planned for everyone. Um, so I'm gonna get right to some of the questions, since Alex has joined us, and then once Eto'o comes in, we'll talk about that. So tonight's discussion is about dance, and I was saying to our folks who are in the space with us that it just kind of made its way into the podcast schedule, and I was like, I really like dance, and I wanted to do the show. I was like, let's just put it in there. Um, so to give you guys a little background, like I met Alex in New York City, and I met her through an instructor that I was taking his classes in NYC. And then came to find out that Alex dances, on her own professionally. She has her own dance group and does like all different kinds of workshops. I've taken her workshops. They're amazing. So if you are in the New York City area, please look her up. And she does them out of and I'm gonna you're gonna talk about Imam Lele and Kumbe Dance also out of NYC. So without further ado, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Alex, so you to introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and a little bit about your dance background.
Okay. Hello. Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Alexandra Jean Joseph. I am uh, of the Haitian diaspora. My work consists of using dance, movement, drum, song, and kind of like melding all those things together with my spiritual practice as well. And it's like a cultural work where I use all of those things to community build, to connect with community, for movement healing, all types of healing, right? It's really like a work that's based on community.
Yeah.
I do workshops, I do classes, and they're really like family based. Like we just started doing, my partner and I, he handles the drumming, his name is Sky, and I handle the dancing. So we just started back up with our season of outdoor classes. And it's really like a unique session or set of sessions that we hold because it's like, for the moms that can't really like bring their kids to a dance studio because they're going to be running around like breaking stuff. So it's outdoors. It's like very family oriented. We bring snacks. We have water for everybody. We take care of each other. We sing. We dance. We just love up on each other in community and take up our space. That's another important thing. So we're taking up the space that allows us the visibility that we deserve.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um. Oh, go ahead. Did you have a question? I heard something. Oh.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I really, well, number one, it's great to meet you. I took a look at your social media and I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Um, I would love to hear more about how you are bringing the healing component, because often when we think about dance or and yes, I have to own. We were talking earlier about about yoga and stretch your body, stretching your mind, and how being fluid and elastic in that way allows for your mind to stretch. And I have to acknowledge that it was Chief Yuya, the head of our community, Honor Life Global Ministries, that gave me that tagline. So thank you. But I wanted to hear a bit about healing, because often we just think, oh yeah, I'm going to dance and I'm going to get physically fit. But can you share about the other, the other healing modality? What other healing comes from movement?
So, my dance practice is heavily rooted in traditional Haitian spirituality. And when we go back to like the roots of these practices that were passed down from West Africa, specifically like Benin, Nigeria, places like that, the can y'all hear me?
Hmm.
Yeah, the technology is already encoded in the dance, in the movement, in the song, in the drum pattern. So it's not like I'm reinventing any type of wheel. Like the our technology is ancient, but it's like new. Like I love when people say like Afrofuturism, because it's like we had that stuff already. The future is really like what we was doing in the past. So we have it. So the technology is already encoded. I'm just taking it and making it, I guess, a little bit more digestible for folks that otherwise would not have the exposure to it, whether it's like because of a language barrier or a culture barrier, or maybe they just are in the culture and just didn't grow up knowing the practices. So I'm just sharing our things that we already knew and already had. You know, there's a lot of technology. We could go into the science of it all, because it is a science about how like different drum patterns like affect like different brain waves, as far as like putting you in different states of like relaxation, of meditation. You could also go into the science of movement and movement therapy, about how like moving different parts of your body does like, you know, affect different emotion and give you certain releases. So for me, I kind of like take that and package it. Like for example, one Haitian rhythm is called Igbo. So each rhythm comes from a certain place, has a certain theme, has different colors associated with it. And all those go into like the healing, right? Because there's color therapy, like, you know, different colors evoke different emotions as well. So for Igbo, to go for example, that's coming from Nigeria. So the Igbos were like, you know, a very strong warrior people. That's where you get like the, you know, like the Wakanda forever, like I will not be nobody's slave. So the Igbos were not exclusively in Haiti, but wherever they were transported to, like there's an Igbo lineage in the southern United States. There's Igbo lineage in Trinidad, in Jamaica, but I can speak specifically to Haitian Igbo. But wherever they went, the message was like freedom, was liberation, was justice, that nobody owns you. The earth is here for all of us to share and enjoy, and one person doesn't have more right to it than I do. Right? So that idea of freedom. So in the movement, you see it because a lot of the movements start off like closed off, and then you're literally like breaking free from something. So you're opening up your arms. So when you break it down like that and you explain like the themes to somebody who may not be in the culture, they can find a way to relate to that, because you know it may not be like imagining yourself in like physical like metal chains and like shackles, but like people have different struggles in everyday life. Like it's 2023, life is hard, you know, and sometimes you just need to dance it out. And dancing it out sort of like um Ebo, it's like you're releasing something. So I have, when I do certain exercises with the people that take my classes, I say, okay, imagine something that's like maybe like a struggle for you, maybe something that you're trying to like break through, maybe something that's difficult for you, and imagine yourself literally like breaking through it. So it's not just like dancing just to dance. We're not trying to like act like we're like warriors, you know, on a battlefield. We're not trying to copy anything, but it's like how to make that relatable to our lives today, to be able to still use that technology because it's there for a reason, you know? Yeah. I mean, I could go on.
No, I was like, I had a question. I was like, well, you know what? Can you? Because you talked about like, I'm thank you for like letting people know, like, yeah, this is not Wakanda Forever. They got it from somewhere, and talking about
Yeah.
technology being already being laid out
Mhm.
and us reaching back. reminds me of a specific bird, you know, looking back, you know. I thought that was really
Sankofa.
Yeah.
yeah. Before I ask my question, Eden, did you have a follow up?
I did. I did.
Good.
Thank you. I wanted to just acknowledge exactly what you said about that technology, right? This technology being encoded, and really you aligned it with the component of community and how important it is in order for us to unplug, right, from all that's being encoded. I mean, even before we're born, there are messages and instruction and desires for things that we really don't even want. But those things are encoded, and so I wanted to just offer gratitude for what you spoke to as it pertains to acknowledging that this is an ancient technology. Yes, it appears as if I'm bringing you to something in the future, but the reality is we're pulling from the past, right, in order to bring this technology forward. Because often when we do that, and when we have the opportunity in a community to do that, there are lots of negative things that can be said, right? Like, okay, you're practicing witchcraft, you're in a cult. Like, what is this thing that you're doing, without the recognition that we can only get there together as a collective, right? Because that's how we push against, no, that's not what we do. That's not what we do in this culture. And then once you come together with like-minded people, that's when you can say, well, hey, this is ours. This has existed for a long time, and there's power in it. And then get us all open enough to appreciate, okay, wow, there is a lot more to it than just what's in the Marvel comic or the movie, necessarily. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I did have, because you also started to explain the mood. I wondered if you could go a little deeper, because I remember I asked the question right before you got on about people's favorite dance like memories, and I see Sequoia's answer, so I'll get to it and read it. But I want to start it. I'll start off with something. It's not necessarily a favorite, but one that I cherish, because I really enjoyed taking class with you as well as Peniel, because there was not just like, okay, we're going to get in here and dance. We're also going to learn the significance of what we're doing, what the movements mean, why they were created, where they come from, how they were maybe altered for what was needed at that time. Because he's like you said, the Igbo people came from Nigeria, but then there is this traversing across the Atlantic, because of the mid-Atlantic slave trade, or the Ma'afa, and then it becomes something different based on what is happening at that time. And so there are different movements that were like similar to this, and it was like, it's indicative of especially when we're talking about Haiti, moving through sugarcane fields. So I wondered if you could kind of give a little insight, for that.
For the Igbo specifically, or just for like certain movements?
Certain movements, that this one.
Oh, some of the movements, like in different dances, are literal, but they still can be taken to like a way to apply it to your life. Like Igbo was one, like literal, like, okay, chains of slavery, like your arms, like there's a whole way that your arms can't go all the way back, because literally if they are chained, they can't physically go all the way back. So you'll see some movements that are literal like that, and some movements that are like breaking free from that, where the arms do expand. You'll see in Igbo, a lot of the movements are like low to the ground, because you're like almost mimicking the fact that like the feet are also in chains, so you're not going to be able to jump up. So in Igbo, you'll see a lot of those like really small movements that sort of like burst into the freedom. The songs, usually if you see a Haitian dance performance, it's not without drumming and it's not without song. So all of those are like encoded, messages that were like, that's like our history, our oral history passed down. It's like how we spoke to each other when we didn't have to like, want everybody to know what our business was. We speak in song, and we still sort of like do that. um but some dances you'll see look literal, like we have juba, which is like farming dance, harvesting. So you could look at it like, okay, like some of the movements are like, okay, I'm hoeing, I'm digging, the hole, and I'm putting the seeds in it. But when we dance that, it's not like we're trying to be farmers. We're like tapping into something deeper. Like this I learned also from like one of my teachers, Adia Whitaker, because she just has like a way of explaining things. It's like even when you're doing the move of like planting the seeds, okay, the seeds, what are they representing? Okay, those are your dreams that you're planting, and then you water your dreams, and then you have the weeds that you got to pick out. Maybe the weeds are like the haters or like the things that get in your way. Sometimes you're the weed getting in your own way, and then it's time to harvest. But like the whole bigger picture of Juba, for example, is like to work, to harvest, to produce, to put your uh sweat into something and then see a result. That nothing is just gonna come, just for free. So there's always, the two sides to all the dances. Like you could look at it literally because there is that historical context, but like we could take it on like a deeper universal level, and that's how we sort of can connect to each other because we don't all have the same, spiritual practices or faiths, but like these principles are sort of like universal, like work, justice, freedom, humility. All of those can be found in the different rhythms, songs, and dances.
Thank you so much. And welcome, Eto'o. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We were, so just to catch you up, refresh the room, as they say. So welcome, Eto'o. Eto'o is joining us also from NYC. And we do have a active chat. So right, really quick, before we get to you, Eto'o, we're gonna have you like introduce yourself. I'm just gonna go to the chat really quickly. So I can catch up because the chat has a tendency to get away if it's like super, super active. So the question, really, when we started was like for people to share like some of their favorite dance memories or moments. And so Sequoia says her favorite dance experience was the first dance class she took. It was a blast learning different cultural dances all in one class. Oh, that's a lot. Creating dance routines and performing it with my classmates. That is fun. I don't know how many of y'all, like, show of hands on screen, how many used to make up dances in the house with your cousins? Used to make up stuff
On the porch in the summer.
everywhere.
Listen,
You got to do a recital, look, showing all the
yes, I had a professional, my first professional choreographer was my eldest cousin, and she thought she was Debbie Allen in that basement. So, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Greetings, Safta Arlene. Sequoia also says some of the dances were American folk, jazz, and Latin dance. Chibuya says similar to dances we do, Ogu, Ogun, Azaka, Osain. They mimic farming and even that combat postures. Yes, I remember we did do an Ogu dance, and I think someone in the chat remembers with you, Alex. And we were swinging that machetes, right? And don't you know, we are claiming it to this day. We think we called down a thunderstorm.
Nice.
That's right. That's right.
Nice.
I opened up, and I don't think there was rain on the forecast.
That's right. Sometimes you need that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. It was awesome. So welcome, Eto'o. Welcome to our stage, True Health Live. Thank you so much for being here. So we'll open up, tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the work that you do in dance. Just to give you also Alexandra Jean Joseph is here, and her specialty is in Haitian dance. And Alex, do we say Haitian folklore or traditional Haitian dance?
Um, from speaking to like different teachers, lately I've been going with traditional Haitian dance just because it speaks more to the fact that it's a living tradition. It's not like a thing that's like from the past that like we don't practice anymore, but that's just, what I've been vibing with lately. But you'll see classes titled different ways.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So Eto'o, I've also danced with Eto'o too. Both of y'all are blast. It's so much fun. And still, be taking on online classes with the both of them. As soon as I see it pop up, like, ooh, it's a dance class. So Eto'o, tell us about your, and I'll let you go ahead because I'm like, I really love like to move the hips. So
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm Eto'o. I am a choreographer, dancer. I most recently, within the past 6 years, became a performing artist. So I make music and I sing and dance with my dance company, Mabina Dancers. Um, my specialty is Congolese dance, specifically the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Republic of the Congo. I spent not a bad amount of time, a few years in the Congos, really diving into the culture, the dance. I'm also Congolese, Puerto Rican, African American, but born here in New York City. So it was an honor for me to go back to the source, because you could get a lot from teachers here, but there is something when you do go back, right? There's the environment. I loved what you mentioned, Alexandra, about folklore and traditional, because I remember saying to someone when they were like, "Oh, so you're doing folkloric Congolese dance?" I'm like, "Well, am I really?" Right? There's a lot of the dance forms and things that I've learned are coming from the ballet, which is specifically for performance, right? So once there's choreographic, once there's performance, once there's costuming, it's no longer what the original basis of the dance was, or the ritual, right? And I'm not performing any rituals on stage. And you know, I know sometimes people want the roots, and that's why I want roots, tell me more. I could tell you the history, I could share the pedagogy, I could tell you where songs come from and their meaning, but are we actually invoking anything? Well, we're invoking our environment, our spirit at the moment. This tradition changes with every, you know, generation and everyone who's performing, and the translation changes from body to body. Um, so basically, that's what I do. My specialty is in Congolese dance. But growing up in New York City, West African dance was definitely what most of us grew up with. Congolese dance was not the most prominent style when I was, you know, coming up and doing, you know, African dance forms. And then the term African dance, right? So specifically, Guinea styles. I have a huge passion and love for Haitian traditional dance, being that our islands are really close by, right? We're all very connected when you think about it. And Afro-Cuban dance. So the it's New York City, right? We all dabble in a little something. So that's me, Tsana, and I'm currently pursuing my education, my doctorate in dance education at Columbia. Really looking at Black and Brown women in the African and Afro education system.
Thank you so much. Give thanks for that. A question I had, and I think you kind of touched on this, Alex, when you were talking, because you know the podcast is about health, right? And so some of the things that were mentioned before is like that connection to community and being with one another and how that relates to health. So can you kind of give a little bit about like how that connection to like health and well-being connects to what you do specifically? Because I think we all know, like, dancing is good, it gets your heart rate up, cardiovascular, but there's a deeper side to it. So it would be great if you could speak to that from your experience. Eto'o, sorry.
Okay. I think I want to answer that question. I'm going to return to the question you previously asked, and it was about a memorable or a moment in dance, right? Um, I remember dancing. We were dancing lamban at a performance, and at that time, my teacher, Carolyn Webb, she told us this beautiful routine. Her teacher was Papalaji, and he had passed away, so we were doing a memorial, dance for that occasion. There was something that happened on stage, and I still can't quite explain that. The word people would say is a trance. That moment where it was the rhythm, it was my fellow dancers and I was so invoked in the words I'm using, right? But I was so in that moment that I felt that I left the physical and joined somewhere else. That was the first time that climax happened for me. And I'm using the word climax, it's intentional. When I realized it, I became scared and I came right back, like what is going on, but I never lost a beat or a step. So there was something that was happening that's beyond just a, a technique, knowing a technique. It goes beyond, just doing it for fun and for the sweat. It's when you give yourself to that moment and that experience. And that's where the energy, whatever that energy is, because that's not my specialty to speak on, spirituality, but whatever that was, I knew I was there. It could have been psychosis. It could have been the spirit. It could have been so many things, and maybe all things happening at once. And that's what dance is for me. So I made that very, and it's specifically African rooted dance forms.
Thank you for that. Alex, did you want to add anything?
Yeah. I think I've had many of those moments on stage, and I think that's what like first got me like hooked to dance. Cause like I'm very shy in real life. Like if it comes to like speaking, I'm just like, okay, no. But like when I'm on stage dancing, I'm like a whole different person. And I cannot dance like without my drums, without the song. Like when I have all those layers, like the song, the drum, and then I add the dance to it, like I do feel like I'm transcending, during the performance. And it's like that can be spoken to anybody who's like, I guess they call it in the zone, right? Like
Yeah,
you have
Yeah.
like somebody, a surgeon who's performing a surgery, and there's a point where like the surgeon is just like in the zone and doing all the things, and it's just like a successful surgery. So I think, you know, we all have the potential to sort of like get in that zone when all the stars do align. And I think it's easiest to do that with African rooted dance because the technology already existed, right? We're not reinventing the wheel. We've been doing that. So all the stars just align when you put all those layers together, especially the drums. The drums are like so powerful. That's like your
yeah,
heartbeat, you know?
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah.
And
mhm.
there's something so liberating about it. I remember this one. She came to class and she said to me, "I'm glad I came." And I looked at her and I was like, the general response would be, "Well, thank you for coming. I'm glad you came too." But it's what she said after that made it more profound and made my response even more genuine and heartfelt. But sometimes we get caught up in that moment. Okay, class is over. Everybody has to get out the room, right? But when she said to me, "I had heart surgery 2 months ago, and I needed to come to your class," and I was like, "Whoa!" This is a woman I've seen for years,
Mhm.
and not just my class, but in my teacher's previous classes, and now she's coming to me, and the fact that she wanted to share that moment with me and with others, that was like, okay, this is important. This is more than just, like I mentioned previously, I just want to come here to sweat. Oh, this is a great workout. It's like Zumba. It is nothing like it. It's deeper than that, and it's who we are. Our heart is our rhythm. It's there. And when people tell me they have two left feet, I'm like, okay, maybe, but maybe we're connecting in a way that you may not relate to. So let's go. Where do you relate? Where do you find yourself? Where's your understanding of it? You can't force dance on someone. You can't force a technique on someone. But maybe we can achieve that goal of getting you to have self expression and live in that moment by connecting a different way, a way that you understand. So,
Yeah, I definitely I like that you touched on that climactic component of dance, right? And being able to transcend or to leave the body in that way. And it did make me consider those moments when we're so on purpose, right? And we're moving in alignment with our creator in such a way that there is no opportunity for worry or is my right foot and my left foot, is everything working properly? You're in the pocket, you know that everything is working properly, everything is moving fluidly, and that's why you wouldn't necessarily, a person wouldn't lose a step And it's in those moments that we get to experience that, something that came up on our recent retreat, in our community, Honor Life Global Ministries, was this concept of mindlessness, and
Mm.
how we can really embrace not leaning on what the brain would have you worrying about in a given moment, but allowing yourself to be free. And so a lot of what I'm hearing both of you describe, as what a person needs to do in order to meld that physical and that spiritual experience, is really just aligning with just that, right? The beat of your own heart, and being able to honor that, and move in that in such a way that you create that mental freedom, right? Where there is no worry and there is no concern, because things are actually connected, right? And they're moving gracefully when we get out of the way, when the mental stiffness gets out of the way. So yeah, enjoy. And I know the chat again is kind of moving. So
Yeah. No, but I like that. I like that you said like move, get out of the way. Like, I thought I was move, get out the way. Like you have to kind of tell you though, get out of the way. Like, because it prevents us from being present in the moment, which is part of our purpose, is to be present in that moment. So yeah, good, thank you, good, thanks. I'm gonna divert to the chat real quick because we got some commentary. So Chief Yuda answered the question. He says, dancing with La Rupe troupe as a youth with my mother and my father and brothers drumming. That drumming piece is, yeah, we can get into that. The family vibe around drum and dance were powerful childhood memories. Yeah, like I don't think I realized the power of dancing with live drumming until I started taking Haitian dance. And I have to say, like, I think you said it earlier, Ed. So it's like, that idea is like, oh, it's African dance. Everything's African dance. And I did not even realize that there were different nuances. Like, you go into like different countries, because we're not even told, maybe they tell the kids now, but it's like, oh, Africa. And it's like there's so many different peoples, even within one country. There's different peoples, different tribes, and they all do things differently. And until you learn that, you don't even realize the significance or the importance of why these things exist, and why it's important to know like how they move, and they move differently. So a dance that we're learning, learn where it comes from, because like you don't even know what you may be doing, or why you're doing it. But even like learning that there was a thing is traditional Haitian dance. Like I was instructed by Chief Yuya to take a dance class, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do African dance. And he's like, why don't you take Haitian dance? And I was like, in my head, it was like, I don't even exist. And it was like, okay, before you open your mouth, go and look. And lo and behold, it was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know this. And I was so pleasantly surprised. I had never, there were like, and you know how Pena moves, Alex. There were like 6 drummers in the class. And I was like, this is amazing. I think I even posted about it because it was like the best way to like end out a strong, like going into Sabbath. It's like just drumming yourself into, that rest period. And it was so nice to be able to experience that and learn like, this is part of my heritage, so I was pleasantly surprised and so happy to do it. And even learning a different kind of we're not even West Central, Central African movement with the Congolese dance, and seeing the connection between the two, because in Haitian dance there is Congo, which comes from Congo. And I was like, okay. And it's, very feminine, there's hip movement. And so when I was dancing with Ed, I was like, oh, look at this. And so it's like, okay, how can I, make sure I do this next time we're doing Congo and Haitian dance? It really was conditioning of the waist. Really, 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 really. Okay. Masculinity like says, I was part of the dance ministry at our church, and a lot of my introduction to drama was through the dance instructor Eisenhower Ike Williams. Was retired dance from Jamaican. He was a retired dancer from Jamaican dance group. The stretches I learned in those classes are why CPS says I'm 90% water, aka I bought the bone leg. Margie Marie Art. She said her favorite dance experience, just being a part of my community center dance group. We created a tribute to Michael Jackson. Oh, um, and performed it at the Civic Center in front of the city. Oh my God, did y'all do Thriller? That was like to this day, I don't know if I even had a video game to teach you how to do it. I just kind of make up my own steps, but it's fun nonetheless. We all do it. Don't even look at me like I'm crazy. We all make up our own steps. Master Melik says favorite memory was from the African dances we would perform. Zumba, Drake voice. Yeah, but I think that was to your comment about like people, equating, oh, it's just like Zumba. No, it's not. There's like a whole deeper level, that happens when you're dancing. And like, someone asked me once, like, when I dance, do I go into trance? And I think maybe I had like a similar moment to you, Eto'o. It was like, okay, I don't even know if I'm doing the choreography like right now. I'm somewhere else. And it is kind of like, oh my God, what's happening? And you kind of snap back to like, okay, because when I remember that moment, I think I was just flailing with my arms and legs. But then I saw the video and it was like, no, you were doing it because I really, yeah, you do go somewhere else. You do go somewhere else. Anu Radio. And please feel free to like comment, Alex and Eto'o, on any of our guests. And also, you guys are, the floor is open to ask questions. On the radio says, yes, African dance, such a broad umbrella. Waist movement in Congolese dancing and shoulder movement in Ethiopia. I remember we had that conversation. You gave us like that short lesson, Eto'o, when you were like, okay. I think you said your instructor gave it to you like about. You go ahead.
Yeah, it's incredible how much knowledge we could share with each other. False knowledge, but also true knowledge and things that make sense. So my instructor, Christogon Diangwaya from the Republic of the Congo, he told me, when you think of African dance, think of it and look, compare the continent to your body, put them side by side. So I was like, okay. He was like, so if you look at the continent, anyone north, they're doing movement, this shoulder up, right? The top. And I was like, huh. He said, when you think of south, what are they doing? Legs. He was like, and anything that's central is that waist. So that's what I need you to work on. It's your core, it's your waist. Build your core, build all of that, keep it strong. And that's what the focus was. I was like, oh, okay. And funny enough, when I taught a history course at Hunter College, that's what I did. I had to pull out, I did a whole PowerPoint slide. I put the continent and the human body and divided it up so they could understand it. And also I provided the visual resources so they could connect it. Because sometimes, we need different modes to understanding because we learn differently.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Sovereignty says, thank you for your share, Alexandra. Your classes were very spirited, and Yambalu was my baby. It's my baby too. I love me some Yambalu. I think you dance Yambalu too, right, Eto'o?
Yes, yeah. I love me some Haitian. Oh man, I don't know. I think I gotta do this DNA again. I don't know. I might get the love is there. The love is there.
Yes. Tell us about Yambalu, Alex.
Okay, so Yamvalu, again, is another dance that's not like exclusive, to IET. You find Yamvalu in many different places, but what it looked like, what the adaptation does look like when it reached the island of Haiti, it tells the story of Dambala and Aida, the two serpents that represent like life, creation specifically, and just this primordial wisdom. It's like a purity, it's a supplication. So all of that is demonstrated in like how you move your body. It's like you're undulating to mimic sort of that the snake movement or the undulation of like the waves and the water. Like everything sort of ties in. All the dances are really connected like when you start to break it down, but Yamvalu specifically, like when it's performed, like I said, each dance has their color frequency that goes along with it. So Yamvalu is usually light colors, like white, very, very like pure energy, but like a supplication. So I was gonna go into like responsibilities of like dance educators, and I think it ties into this question as well, because Yamvalu specifically does activate a lot. So as an educator, you sort of had to like know how to guide your students, because like, you know, there's potential for like release and like different things. Like I've had classes where like I'll say something and like the music is going and people just start crying. So you sort of have to like know how to like take them there and then like take care of them as well. You know, it's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna leave you here with your release and that's it. Like we have the technology, but like I'm grateful, you know, for the wisdom and to be able to share it. But I'm also grateful for the responsibility too, to be able to like um sort of like guide, you know, these different releases and different emotions that do come from the dances in a healthy way. So Yon Balu, this undulation, it starts in your pelvis area, like, and then it goes, you know, up your body. So you'll see this a lot in Dunham technique too, where they teach, you know, um, contemporary and modern dancers how to like tap into that. Um, so you this undulation that starts, you know, in your pelvis and goes up to your back, your neck, all the way up to your head. Really, the energy is stemming from the ground, right? You're pulling this energy up, and it becomes this loop that the energy is just, you know, cycling like what do you call it? Like a figure eight, like infinity. So then it ties back into like Dambala and Aida principle of creation. So to tie all of that in, to tie all of that in, I always say Yon Valu is the dance that like puts all your business out there on Front Street, because it shows you, you can physically see like where somebody has energy stuck, right? If it's in their heart space, like that happened to me a lot in the beginning. Like I'll get, you know, the pelvis and I'll get up there, and then like, you know, the chest to get it up there. It's like my chest area, my heart space was like not able to fully release. So in practicing that, you know, now I can sort of use it as a meter in a sense to see like how I'm doing, how my energy is flowing. So that's just like a small piece of how um, each rhythm, each dance has its own technology that goes along with it.
Thank you for that explanation.
Answered the question. I don't know.
I think so, because that was Sovereignty's question to ask to share a little bit about the contextual history of the Young Valu dance. I think so, and Sovereignty, you can let us know if that was if that was good enough for you. But thank you for sharing that. We have a few more favorite dances. So Anu Radio says her favorite memory was learning the Dunham technique with live drummers. She said she forgot that they were doing drills when the drums took over. I like drills, like, and I know like working with the Haitian dance, it's like you do choreo. There's like a whole like, and I have taken like different classes, but there's like one format, and it's like we warm up, and warm up is a workout. You warm up, then we do dance, and then we do choreography, and then it's drills. And I really enjoy the drills because that's where you learn the movement, because it's, it's like respecting the choreography, like respecting the movement and respecting the choreography and what it does for you. Like, it's not just the sweat session, but understanding like what it is. And I'm literally doing this while I'm talking. But yeah, like doing those drills, like you get to like you drill it into your head on how to do it, and it helps to like perfect the movements. I really appreciated that, like, and taking both of your classes, like, kind of going over it. And the choreography is always amazing. Like, I think I've even danced with a sister. We recorded ourselves. We still have those recordings. I've added songs to my playlists from taking y'all's classes. Like, they're like forever on my playlist, and I still like try to remember the dances like while I'm driving, which is probably not wise, but it's that much fun.
I'm thinking about what Alexandra said about putting it all out there on the floor, right? And everybody knowing everything about you, because that is the moment of release. And in Congolese dance, it's quite interesting because for foreign eyes, it's sexual because of the winding of the hips, right? Or the popping of the pelvis, or the different things that happens, the shake, right? Because it's not just one, depending on which dance you're doing, depending from which ethnic group, the movements are very different. And there are specific dances that might be for a dance to try to have twins, which I don't know that dance. I purposefully didn't want to learn that one. But There's the dancing dances that are for to show the young woman who's getting ready to be married what the elder women will teach her. And you can see that even in Tanzania as you stem a little more east, right? Across Tanzania and Congo are very close by. Um, so, and when people see this, they're like, oh, I remember somebody tell me, oh, you're clout chasing. And I was like, well, what does that mean? You're Dominican. You have sensual dances yourself, coming from your culture. How am I clout chasing? Well, you shaking everything. And I was like, wow, you really do not watch your bachata. You really have never paid attention to your merengue. Um, but nevertheless, one of the things that I learned most, and I started dancing hip hop as a kid here in New York City. But one of the things that I learned through African dance is a lot about my body. I know where I have stiffnesses, like Alexandra mentioned. I know where I'm not that flexible at. I know where I'm most flexible, and I learned things about my body, especially my core, what I'm tightening up, when I tighten up. We're afraid to talk about, our private parts. But I sometimes need you to use it. I need you to engage that. I need you to pull up. And I need to be able to express that so the person can actually execute, the movements correctly. Because not every wine is the same wine. If you do soca has an accent that goes more towards the back and it's fast, right? Where Congolese dance, your pelvis, I was gonna go anterior tilt and this. Okay, so your pelvis, depending on how you stand, you need it to kind of go center, right? Like level. Think of your head being the tip energy and a string going from the top of your head straight down the middle of your body going down through the pelvis, right? And I need to be able to explain that I need you that way, not your booty this way, not tucked this way, but like this. And then you wind that waist. So you learn a lot about your body. And then I want you to do it the other way. And you're like, wait a minute now, I can't get the other way. Um, I learned a lot about people's walks, how some people have a more defined hip, how some people walk a little tighter just by me asking you, go across the room. And in Yambulu, those are one of the beautiful things that we also have in a dance called the Sokota in the Republic of the Congo that you and you need to, and then you could take it low, you could bring it up, but that snake, that water. So you learn a lot about your body. So there are, it's not just, once again, it's not just dance for dance sake. You learn about yourself, um, and you work in those areas to connect more with yourself, your breath, your heartbeat, the energy around you. It's all energy. So I just wanted to kind of throw that one in.
Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing in the importance of fluidity, particularly as women. As you were sharing, I was thinking about womb wellness and just how vital it is. Like our wombs become such a stagnant place. It's like you get nervous, your chest tightens, your core tightens, and then it just stays tight. And oftentimes we forget to breathe. We forget to move whatever we do as a profession, we're often sitting, right, for long periods of time, and you lose that fluidity, you lose that movement in an area that really should constantly be bringing forth creative ideas and gestating and carrying and birthing and doing this cycle over and over again. I remember picking up a hula hoop like as an adult and recognizing this is much different than it was when I was a child, and having to kind of left get that left again, right? Because it's like, okay, yeah, I can do it clockwise, and this works, and yeah, I remember some tricks. But then the counterclockwise, it's like, wait a minute, what's happening? But there was so much womb stagnation, and being able to just own that and recognize it and say, you know what, I don't play enough. Like I'm not having fun at all. Like even just you just doing this. It was just like, yeah, that's so playful, right? That's so much energy and so much movement that so many of the women who will, and men who will encourage their women who will watch this, that's what is important, right? That we can get to the medicine through fun, through fluidity, through movement, through dance. um it's just a very encouraging presentation that you all are making for the value of dance.
Yeah, we have some questions for y'all. Um, Anu Radio asked, like, first she says, very powerful. So thank you for your share. So she's asking, do you sisters think that dance should be a requirement for youth? So let's go in alphabetical order. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah. Even if the title, could be changed a little bit, because I think sometimes when people see dance, they get a little bit intimidated, because then they start thinking about how many left feet they got, how much rhythm they don't have, and all the things. And like a lot of people who just you take a class off chance get pleasantly surprised. So maybe like, movement. I think anything movement based should be a requirement, because you wake up in the morning, that's movement. How you walk is movement. How you walk down the street is movement. How you interact, you talk with your hands, it's all movement. So I think having the awareness of that starting at a young age, and like owning that part of yourself, and like connecting your body to your emotional health, your mental health. I think we need that starting at a young age, because I think there's like a disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just going to piggyback. I agree. I don't think I bring anything new with that thought, because I know dance saved my life. Um, but it was also, and I didn't like dance. Oh my gosh. My mom, if she was here right now, my mom is in Puerto Rico right now. She moved out there. She would tell you, don't listen to her. I had to hit upside the head a few times. And it's true. I didn't want to do it. My mom was my first teacher. I did not want to do it. I really didn't, because I don't know what. And she was really trying so hard with disco. I'm like, Ma, I'm aging myself a little bit here. I'm like, I don't. This is not me. I'm hip hop. Like, but nevertheless, um, here we are today, and I advocate for dance. I feel I live it. I breathe it. It is who I am. I will not make millions. I will not, most of us are not doing this because we're becoming rich. Most of us do this because it preserves who we are as a people. It is the culture of the United States. Black dance is United States culture. It is part of the people, and everywhere we go, it's in our, the music you turn on the radio, it's Black. So I'm all for pushing and preserving and keeping our Black culture alive. So should dance be in our schools? Yes. Should dance be in our after school programs and community centers, and providing opportunities for students to become leaders by creating their own dances and working together in groups and negotiating and creating? Yes, because it does all of that. Are there books that can be read about dance? Yes, there are many. So there's literature. There's so much technology now that is available to really make a career and a lifestyle. Make dance part of a lifestyle. If not even serious, but just part of the lifestyle.
Yeah. Good thing. Next question. Uh, Sovereignty says she doesn't like drills. That's okay. You do them anyway. She says, oh, she's asking if you guys can show us a chair move to make us bust a move, like something like I don't think any of us are prepared to do a move. She's trying to like play us out and get us all inspired.
I read that. That's what I said. I said, uh-huh. She was
Next
just
session.
not
Next
here to
session.
do
I
that.
got a chair
Right.
move for you. It won't require anybody to stand up. So you go. This is my right hand. Can you see? It might be okay for everyone else. It looks a little different for me, but this is my right.
Okay.
So right arm, right. Now the left, left, right, left, right, right. And my head turns and looks at the opening of the elbow right here, and we go ding 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 ka ka ka, ding ding ka ka ka, ding 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 ka ka ka, ding ding ka ka ka. That's part one. Part
Oh.
two. There's a part two for you. I'm gonna give you what you asked for. You wanted it, now you got it. Your right shoulder goes forward, left shoulder goes back. Right forward, left back, right forward, left back we go. Ding 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 ka ka ka, ding ding ka ka ka, ding 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 ka ka ka, ding ding ka ka ka, ding 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 ka 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 kuruka, go go go. That means you own, right? Now we'll put those two things together. Out. We do call and response. I'm going to go, then you respond. I call, you respond. Can I get a yeah, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Can I get a yeah, yeah?
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
All right. Watch me. I'm gonna do four. Then you go. 5, 6, 7. Right arm first. Thinking ka ka ka. 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 Ka 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 kuruka. Go go go. You go. Thinking
Okay.
ka ka ka. Thinking 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 ka ka ka. Ka 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 kuruka. Go go go. That's
I
the
did
little
all right.
zebra.
I'm like, we just gonna roll the shoulders. Roll the shoulders. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
think I
you. I needed that.
that was
Matondo
cool.
Mingi.
Yes, and maybe tonight I'm gonna add some wines to it.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
because it is that was like only two little levels. We got the core to go, everything else to go, the hips, the feet,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, thanks, thanks. Margie Marie Art says, "Are there recommended dances for women who are going through postpartum, tying into women's health?" A good question, Margie. That's really, really good question. Would you have any of you have any like recommended?
I'm not sure, to my knowledge, if there are any dances like specifically that speak to that, but I know that um, in dealing with like different types of healing, I think you would have to go like based on the individual and what they need for their body, because like we spoke about earlier, like you could have different energies, different traumas, even like different energies stored in different parts of your body. So I don't think there could be like a cookie cutter formula that would be like perfect for like every single person, but I think um maybe based on an individual basis, like somebody could figure out like, okay, this person, maybe they're a little tight here, maybe they need a little bit of a release here, and then using their dance knowledge, they could maybe come up with something for that specific person. But I'm not sure if in the Haitian tradition there's something that specifically speaks to postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
To follow up and find out, but I don't know of any.
Okay, good thing.
Mhm.
And neither do I. I personally, it helps me with my cycle and cramps.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because blood is flowing again, right? Getting things moving, getting those, my lower back moving and getting that spine to do this. But as far as any actual research that has been done, I don't know of any research. So be weary when people say, "Oh, it helps with ovarian cysts and Congolese dance helps with." I have not heard of anything like that. I've spoken to a few of my Congolese elders who are masters. You know, they're dancing. It's more here. It's more here. It's spiritual, but nothing written thus far about it curing anything of the sort.
Mm-hmm. Let's
We do
see.
have our traditions though, like outside of dance, like just cultural traditions, like different like herbal, like baths that women would take. There are different practices
Hmm. Hmm.
around like pregnancy and like health and like pre-birth, postpartum, and all those things. We do have different cultural practices around that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, I did think of a question, and it was based on like how our conversation was going. Because we're talking about, like, both of you, you dance currently, you also have had instructors, so there's that line of like honing your craft. And so one question that I thought of, like kind of earlier today, was like, what is the, this is kind of moving away from the health, but it is kind of connected, because it's like this is part of like who you are. And so it's like, what is the, I don't know if it's the span, like the lifespan or the time span of a dancer? Like how long, does that last, like as you're moving through? Because it's something, and I know like some dances, it depends on what it is. Like I don't know if like, if you're like backup dancer for like Beyonce or something, like I don't know if that's like a forever thing. But like if we're talking about traditional dances, in my mind, I'm like, you could do that forever. So I wondered if you guys had any kind of insight on like what that is, like, or your own insight on like the lifespan of a dance career. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, you, when you're called out, when the if you believe in God, when He calls you, or when the universe says it's time to return, whichever it is, that's when you stop. I was in the Congo, and I danced with this group, this Bangala dance company, and I danced with elders. And I think one of the oldest people was 78 at the
Mm.
time when I was there, and they continued until they passed away. Um, I was going to mention that how dance works is it also goes with your age, right? Because dance changes as you change, as your experiences change, as your body changes. I remember starting Congolese dance at I'm not throwing my age out there, but I started. I at 28 was when I first started Congolese dancing with my teacher at the time, Priska Uya. And oh boy, the energy when I see the videos, I'm like, man, look at that girl go. But my intent was also very different then, right? How I did my movements spoke for that time. Um, then when my 30s now started kicking in, I'm like, okay, do I need to be as hard or that full energy? And I started honing in, bringing that, instead of dance being so out, bringing it back in. I was told that it's less. I want to say, if I say certain things, I'm not trying to be offensive, but culturally places are different and have different ways of thinking. So if I say female and male, it's not because that's my viewpoint, it's because that's the way it's seen in dance in the Congo. So I apologize now if I offend anyone with what I'm going to say. But I want to share, right? This is part of cultural understanding, is sharing, um, and respecting, right? Because I respect the Congolese culture, as is also part of mine. But women dance a certain way, and the men dance a certain way. Um, that is changing now, right? Because of the commercial market, right? Everyone wants to be seen, like you said, the backup dancers and stuff like that, But nevertheless, in traditional, that's why you'll see an 80-year-old dancing, because of the way that they're dancing for their age and for that, they learn how to work with their body, what didn't function before. Like now they can't do drop down and do splits. That was something they could have done when they were in their 20s and 30s, even pushing their 40s. But you learn to adjust. So yeah, that's my share.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with all of that. And I just want to say, like, most of my teachers are like, years older than me, and they could still like bust it out like nobody's business. Like, they get finer with time, and they just, I don't know, have worked with the movements for so long, and they kind of like have the sauce. They just perfected it. So they don't necessarily have to look like they did when they were like 18 doing the move, but they're still just as sharp. Because the dance is really like you said, the expression of of you and your journey and where you are in your journey at the time. So that's not going to look the same. Like when I was 18 and like going out with my little dress and my heels, it's not me now. You know, it's just a different time. And like both are just, you know, to be honored and to be remembered and to be respected. But like there's a time for everything. But
Yeah.
especially with traditional dance, I don't think there's like an age, because it'll be everybody from like the little baby to like the elder in the circle dancing in their own way, expressing their spirit to the music.
Mm-hmm.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, there is like the commercial aspect, you know, to the dance and like, you know, what's desirable and what the industry wants. But aside from that, like as far as our cultural values go, like you're expressing your spirit. There's no
Mm-hmm.
age to that.
And it sounds like a lot of what, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying thank you. Go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it
Hmm.
sounds like a lot of what you both describe has so much to do with the culture, right? Like like the cultural imperative and that recognition that you have a role even beyond 40, right? You have a role beyond 50, beyond 60. This community, right? This culture that you're steeped in your teens and your 20s, or even when you're 6, 7, and 8 years old. There's a role for you then, right? And there's a role for you when you're 60, 70, 80, to still contribute and to
Yeah.
still bring value,
Mm-hmm.
which is beautiful, because that is a reflection of community and of there being like-minded movement in a particular culture. Because if not, then what we have is what we have here, right? So often it's like, well, once you are a certain age, we have very little value for you, because your only
Mm-hmm.
value is what you can do in the workforce, or what you can do for your children, because maybe you bring them up in such a way where you're giving everything, right? Or I'm giving everything. So once I can no longer give in that tangible way, there is no value established in what I can now bring forward. So as you always sharing that, that's what I was hearing, that
Yeah.
that undertone of like that cultural imperative.
Mm-hmm. I was hearing rite of passage as well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
dance is a rite of passage, like the elders, which goes into, I think Sovereign needs to ask the question, can you each give an example of a time dance bridged the gap between youth and elders? So I guess like maybe something specifically that you remember in your experience, whether you were taking the class or teaching it.
I think it happens all the time, and I see it a lot in like my workshops, especially because they're really like family centered. So I'll have the little baby dancing in the circle, and I'll have like the elder that just wants their kid to be exposed to something. So I see all the things, but I think the one thing I see a lot is when like, you know, the younger kids come with like, you know, the dances that they think like they invented and that are new, and then the elders will jump in with like the original version of like, or their version of the thing, and then the even older people will jump in with like the village, you know, interpretation of that too. So you'll see like the same movement with different generations, and it's like, oh, like, you know, like they can connect in that way. I see that a lot.
Um, I'm gonna go to the chat really quick. Chief US says my mother is approaching 80 and teaches dance to senior citizens, various forms of dance, but aerobic based, customized for elders. So yeah, it's like it knows no bounds. So which is why dance is amazing. It's good for your health. It's more. I think what we even discussed here is not just the sweat sesh. It's the spiritual and mental aspect that it reaches and touches. He also said women and men also drum differently. Women tend to hold down lower frequencies and men solo and push top end. I learned that like with the drumming, like in the big drum is the mama drum, and it's like the deepest one, and the baby drum is little, and the father drum has more of that middle tone, but it's higher pitched than the mama drum. And there's a whole science and learning around the drumming, which I couldn't catch all of it, but I just knew like once they're moving, I'm gonna move too. But yeah, the drumming, that was another piece that I was really appreciative to, like kind of get a little bit of that taking classes, which I really appreciate when the instructor also gives like that historical context, which both of you do. So give thanks, and give thanks to you, y'all, for that bit of information and knowledge. He also says That's the beauty of primal art. We express through our gender gifts to weave a tapestry that reflects the heavens and natural environment. Yeah, like so. And I wanted to apologize for nothing, because part of what True Health Live is about the truth. So when it comes to, we're talking about tradition and culture, things are expressed through male and female. So that's what it is. So I don't even think there's an apology necessary. So if you don't like it, you can flip the channel. It's fine. You know. Sovereignty says that's beautiful, Chivia. That is indicative of how much work she put into her craft and her vessel when she was younger. It's great that she can now support other elders to maintain movement. And that is a part of like being healthy as well. Like, there's how many people do we see walking down, and especially in melanin dominant community, where they can barely walk down the street. So like even like doing something like on a regular basis, like dance, like things where you stretch the fascia and touch that mind, is really, really important, and it's crucial. And I'm gonna read the last one, but before I do, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna ask, and if it's okay before we close. So for those of you who are still watching, who did our chair dance off camera, we'll close out with that. So I'm going to invite all of you who are still here to do our little tear dance. Eto'o, if you don't mind, you can lead us for a few counts, and that's how we'll close out. So I'm going to give y'all some time to get on this live, and then we're going to do a...
You know what? That is perfect reciprocity, considering someone who is off camera requested that we do that, right? So they should join us. Join us.
So get your little backgrounds ready, and find your plain white wall or someplace, whatever it is. So get ready. I'm gonna read this last comment. Anu Radio says, "Oh yeah, that's really cool to see, Sister Alexandra. I see that a lot with Jamaican dances. LOL, skanking is making a comeback."
Yeah. I think it's beautiful when you can see generations of a particular dance move, or, it's like, no, we did it like this. And number one, dare I say, it humanizes the elder, right? Because we kind of get, I mean, even if you're an elder just by virtue of being that auntie, or being that Ema, or that mother, or being that, that older cousin, it's kind of like, you don't know how to do that, or you don't know how to move, or you even hula hoop or double dutch, right? You don't know how to do those things. And then it's like, really? Yeah, I do.
Watch me.
Right. But then it creates like a connection that's, wow, wait a minute. So we're doing that now, and you were doing that at some point as well. So it's like the more we can connect and bond in that way, the more healing, the more wellness we can cultivate,
Yeah.
for our youth and for ourselves and the elders, of course.
Yeah. I remember like thinking, like, same as you, Etta. We will not talk about age, but like thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be so like, just out to pasture. No, I'm not. I like to get in and like, shake a tail feather and a few others, elbow feathers, depending on whatever it is. Be a lot of feathers.
Shake some wings, some feathers, right.
A lot of feathers. All right, I gave y'all a little bit of time. I get where y'all at. There was a lot on that request.
They stalling. We just gonna do it. We're gonna close out. We're just gonna do it.
Right, they're like, all right, maybe they forgot. So thank you so much, Eto'o and Alexandra, for joining us. It was such a great pleasure having you. Thank you for talking to us about, not just like, making that very, usual connection to health, but really talking about it from like the healing part, connecting with community, even the last part of our conversation about like the elders, and making that connection between youth and elders. I really, really appreciate it. I like our conversations to be different. They don't have to be like the same old, and what does it do for your arms, and do your legs get stretched out? No, this is because I think we don't always, well, at least on True Health Live, we talk about mental and social and behavioral. And and that's a big thing, like right now, like because there's so much crazy in the world. Like that's the part of us that is really suffering, for a lot of people, is that social and behavioral health, our mental space, our spiritual space. So what are those things that we can do that really help to address that? Because like whatever's going on there, it does exhibit physically. So that we can figure out ways to treat ourselves, right? In a way to do. Oh yeah, thank you. That makes sense. Like how
I
can we?
got you. I got you. Good. Like
I
they
am.
need the link if they're gonna join us. They
All right.
won't
Well,
say anything.
right. All right. Well, y'all got the link.
I
Let's
got you.
see. Let's see who pops on. Mm-hmm.
Well, can we hear a little bit about where people can take these lovely ladies dance classes, how
Yeah.
we can keep in touch with you all, whether you do anything online? Let's hear a little bit about that while other people join us to close out.
So right now I'm not currently teaching anywhere. But I do teach classes when invited, special workshops. But I could, if you want more information, all my social media handles are Eto'o. That's Eto'o. Again, that's Eto'o. Yeah, thank you. It's been my pleasure.
I wanted to take your class. I gotta follow you. See when the next time you're teaching. I was
No, we
waiting
have
for
to
it.
take each other's
Yeah.
classes. I tell you, I'm Haitian.
Yeah.
I'm Haitian. I know it.
I'm gonna get in there too. Currently, I'm kind of like halfway through my outdoor class season. That's the workshop I was talking about in the beginning when we started talking. The classes I kind of started when COVID happened and we were online because we were just like used to seeing each other every week in dance classes, and all of a sudden it's like nothing. So we started, doing classes on Zoom, and then eventually we moved it outdoors. So then I think it's our third year doing it. So I'll be out on Sundays in Prospect Park from 2 to 4 doing traditional Haitian dance. It's drumming, it's family friendly. Everybody come out, bring your sneakers, and we're out on the grass. So that's on Sundays. And we're going to go till end of October, going into November, where we end in like a culminating class celebrating Fête Gede and the ancestors and all those traditional Haitian things. And then on social media, on Instagram, my personal page is freestyle. So FREEE. So that's 3 E's and underscore STILE. So freestyle. And then I have my company page on Instagram as well. The company's name is Imamulele. So that's IMAMOULELE. So Imamulele. So that's performances, workshops, children's programming, private events, drum healing, all sorts of like community-based activity as well.
Thank you so much. So we have one brave soul who is
Peace out there.
So she's gonna do
Peace.
we're gonna close out with our dance that Eto'o was so kind enough to show us. And as always, the podcast will be uploaded. You can find us on all the major platforms. You can replay this on YouTube, Facebook, wherever it is. And as always, if you have any questions about any of our guests, feel free to comment. Leave them in the comments, and I definitely get back to you. I'll be putting we put the handles for both our guests, Eto'o and Alexandra, in the chat. But we'll also put in the description box of the videos, as well as where you can reach them, their info, where you can reach them, on the website on divaselly.com. And we have a Coti Moraes. So we're going to have our closeout. I don't even know the beat. I think I made it up. I do that. I make up beats and lyrics sometimes. Right. I just remember.
Okay, we ready?
All right,
Ready.
where are you?
Okay, so
where are
once
you?
again, right shoulder forward, left back. Okay, right shoulder forward, left back, right forward, left back, right forward, left back. As you do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you look 6, 7, 8. How we feel about that? All right, we're gonna try it. All right, we're gonna try it, but I got a treat. I do have a treat. Hold on, I got a treat for you.
Okay.
Call a response. Five, six, yeah. Wow, bravo.
Right.
Matondo Mingi, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
so
you.
awesome. And so for those of you who are only listening, make sure you check us out on YouTube. You can see how we dance. Peace, everyone. Thank you so much, Alexandra, Jean-Joseph, and Tsana, New York City dynamic dancers, performers, and instructors. Make sure you look them up. Take their classes. Love, love, kisses. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Satanaya. Thank you, Akuta Maria. Thank you to my co-hosts, Precious, Secure, Eden, Stephanie. And we will see everybody in 2 Strong.
Peace, everyone.
Peace.
Yo.